Hey golfers, do you ever catch yourself on the golf course thinking about how you set up with your driver and then your pitching wedge and then a 7-iron? You're not really sure, is it supposed to be wide? Is it supposed to be narrow? Where's the ball supposed to be placed in the stance? In today's video, I'm going to show you an easy setup key to have you start setting up more confidently, having that competitive edge over your playing partners, and having more fun on the golf course. Hey golfers, I'm Justin Riker, PGA head golf professional here at Magnolia Greens in Leland, North Carolina. In today's video, I'm going to show you that one setup key to have you start playing better golf and more competitive golf today. All right, so before we get started, we're going to look at three different clubs: driver, a pitching wedge, and our 7-iron. What are the big differences? What are the biggest misconceptions that we have when it comes to setting up with at least these three clubs? Well, let's start with the driver. All right, we all know that we've been told, read, seen, whatever, that we need to be nice and wide with the driver, right? So ball position should be roughly inside the front heel or roughly right off that front toe. That's all fine and dandy, but when it comes to our pitching wedge, what does that mean for us? Do we need to be wide? Do we need to be short? When I start teaching my students, I like a little bit more wider of a stance. Well, how wide, Justin? That's a great question. So when we first get started here, most of my students are going to be really narrow with their stance, probably be about chest wide, all right? And this causes a lot of different issues when it comes to our setup and how we swing the golf club, all right? So some of the main causes that we have when we're narrow is either thin contact, all right, or the dreaded chunky contact, which is not good for any of it. Alrighty, so let's look at what is the proper stance, width, and ball position when it comes to our pitching wedge. Now, most of us, as we were growing up, if we've been playing a while, we're taught when it comes to our wedges, we need to be narrow. Well, yes, to a certain extent, maybe on distance type wedges, if you're in between shots or you're in a maybe not quite a full sand wedge, you're in between some yardages, sure, you can start to kind of mess with distances by kind of shortening the stance. But if we're taking a normal full swing, 80 to 90% swing, never 100% with it when it comes to a wedge, we want to be roughly armpit width. Why? Well, if we get too narrow, then it's easy to start swaying both laterally, both behind us and in front of us, and that's going to cause some of those thins and fat type shots. When we get a little bit wider base, a little bit better foundation connection with the ground, all right, now this allows us to be more stable in our rotation, and we can start hitting much cleaner shots. Now, pitching wedge, ball is going to be in the middle part of my stance. My hands are going to be pressed slightly in front of that. Now, when it comes to my 7-iron, all right, 7-iron, I still see a lot of my students very, very narrow, and it's because we're trying to hit this thing as far as we can, but we start to see the same issues. I start to see swing, back and through, a lot of thins, a lot of tops, a lot of inconsistencies in what we do. So once again, we want to get nice and wide, roughly inside part of our shoes to the armpit width, all right, up for our stance. Ball position, if pitching wedge was going to be in the center part of our body, all right, this is going to be more towards the front pec, all right, on our body. My hands, before with pitching wedge, they were kind of pressed forward. Now, because the ball is slightly more forward, now my hands are going to be much more in line, all right, with the golf ball. And then if we go from there and we want to make sure that we're turning correctly, rotating correctly, as long as we have a wide stance, it is very hard to transfer our weight, get way back here and way back through. So it's a lot easier to be wide and be able to rotate back and through. Now, let's take a look at the differences between the 7-iron and the driver. Alrighty folks, I'm going to give you a little extra tip here since you stuck around and are now watching the end of this video. Now, when it comes to our setup, there's a couple other things that we need to remember. So yes, how we stand, how far wide we are is important. Make sure our weight is roughly probably 50-50, 60-40 on that front side. I like 50-50, honestly. But But the big thing that I want to talk about is how our weight is distributed towards our toes or towards our heels. What I see a lot with a lot of the people that I teach, a lot of the students that I have, all right, are going to be, when they get into posture, right, you probably all heard it, sitting on that bar stool. Man, this is hard to freaking turn back, all right? I can't get there, right? So what I like to tell my students, doesn't matter if it's going to be a pitching wedge like this is, driver, 7-iron, any shot, all right? We want to stand right up like this. We're going to fall down, kind of stick our butt out. I know for women that's going to be the worst thing in the world to tell you, but I tell every single one of my students to do it. So we're going to stand up just like this, let the club fall down naturally right there, push our butt out. Notice, I know I have pants on, I haven't quite bent my knees yet, so just a little bit of knee bend, all right? And now we kind of rock back and forth. Do you feel like you're kind of sitting back on your heels? If you are, straighten back out, push over more. You should be feeling like it's kind of at the end of your laces or on the balls of your feet. And then when you do it correctly, you're going to be able to hit smooth shots just like this. Alrighty folks, so now we're going to look at the difference between what a 7-iron and a driver should look like at setup. Alright, so as a recap, 7-iron, we're going to be roughly armpit width, give or take, from the inside part of both of our feet. Alright, our hands, all right, in ball position is going to be off that front pec. Hands are going to be kind of equal to the golf ball as we look down from here. Now, with driver, obviously two things have got to happen. One, we back a little bit further away from the golf ball, all right? We do get a smidgen wider. So what's a smidgen, Justin? It's probably roughly about a 1/2 inch. So now we're more probably on the shoulder part of the arms, or even to the outside. I like a little bit wider than shoulder width, just because, just like before, if we're too narrow, then we start to kind of slide, maybe even hang back on a driver, all right? If you look at any of the PGA Tour Professional, LPGA Tour professionals, when it comes to the driver, there's a couple things at setup that we need to take a look at and kind of be like, we want to be there every single time. One, ball position. For the most part, is going to be right off the inside part of the front heel, maybe even that front toe, all right? Then that back foot is going to be outside of our back shoulder, all right? This all helps promote a really good rotation, good turn, and the ability to return back to our front side and make a pretty good hit. Look, there's no secret sauce, if you want to call it, all right? We'll reference back to Space Jam. There's no secret sauces. This is the only way to do this. No, there's a bunch of different ways. I'm just trying to give a simple setup drill, all right, and how we can make sure we set up the same way every single time. So yes, driver is going to be the widest stance that we have. Pitching wedge to 7-iron, they're going to stay roughly the same, roughly armpit width from the inside part of our feet, all right? And if we do this correctly, when it comes to our driver, hopefully we get some drives that look like this. Alrighty folks, there you have it. One simple way to make sure that we're setting up every single time the same way when it comes to full swings, whether it's our pitching wedge or 7-iron or driver. It all starts with ball position and stance width. Remember, all right, when it comes to our pitching wedge, we are pitching wedge, 7-iron, just about any iron, all right, maybe even any fairway wood. We want to be at least armpit width wide. Ball position with a pitching wedge, or any wedge really, is going to be right off the center part of our body, and then it slowly starts to move forward. All right, stance width stays the same. We just have to shuffle our feet back, and then when we get to our driver, we have to get a little bit wider. Like I said, about a 1/2 inch wider, to where now the inside part of our trail side is going to be roughly on the outside part of the shoulder. Ball position for this is going to be right off that front foot. If you would do me a huge favor, and please make sure that we like and subscribe to my channel. It's the only way we're going to continue to be able to continue to grow this channel. All right. Also, if you would like to come see me here at Magnolia Greens and work on your setup in person, I'll leave that down in the description below. And if you can't come see me, that's okay too. I've just started with Skillest Golf app, and I'm starting to teach online there as well. So no matter where you are in the world, I can help you out. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.